Listen, I can't wait for this weekend, man. I'm so eager for this weekend, and yeah, man. Listen, if you guys can't come on, then yeah, make sure you try and catch it back, man. Because I've got a prediction that this is gonna be a very good watch along Man United Arsenal. So yeah, make sure you guys can come on, but if not, then try and catch it back anyway. But so yeah, man, I'm excited for this weekend, man. I think it's a massive weekend for Manchester United. Derailing Arsenal's title challenge, and obviously getting into the Champions League is a must. And we can go a long way to doing that. I believe we go and beat Arsenal tomorrow. But anyway, listen, we're gonna get into it. So for me, obviously the three midfield targets, and the midfield is definitely going to need to be addressed in the summer, and it will be, Casemiro leaving. Obviously, Kobe Manu's in talks with a new contract. Obviously, there's question marks around Bruno Fernandes as well, and hopefully Bruno, for me, does get moved on because we need to go in a different direction now. The top targets: Elliot Anderson, Carlos Baleba, Adam Wharton. They're the three names that United have been linked with heavily. And, it is a lot of them very similar ages. You got Baleba, who's 22, Adam Wharton, who's the youngest at 21, and then you got Elliot Anderson, again, who's 23. And do I believe Man United have a serious chance of getting any three of them? I think definitely Baleba. I think the Baleba one's already done, as I said yesterday. I think Anderson and Wharton, I think many people won't be surprised, but I think Anderson and Wharton, I'll be quite surprised if Man United end up with them. I'm not saying it's not going to happen, but it's going to be difficult because of the teams that will be in for them and potentially could offer them more as well. So hopefully we can definitely get at least two of the three. I think the Baleba one, as I said yesterday, I think that's definitely going to happen. But in terms of Anderson and Wharton, yeah, it's going to be quite difficult, man, to get them. But who knows? Who knows? But this is what I've done, guys. The alternatives for Baleba, Anderson, and Wharton. And I think looking around the Premier League, I don't think there's anyone really. There's been talk about Siddiqui from Sunderland. Obviously Loftus-Cheek coming on loan. But if I'm looking at potential recruitments in the summer from the Premier League, I don't really think there's anyone really that we can realistically get, in my opinion. I think it's going to be difficult to try and prize any player from the Premier League to Manchester United. And again, I don't think there's no one that's really outstanding from what I can see that would come into this Manchester United team, that's at a good age for the future. And that's going to be realistic of getting, in my opinion. So this is why, I've purposely done it from players that are outside the league, that haven't played in the league before. And this is why Angelo Stiller, Lamine Camara, and Felix Nmecha. So Felix Nmecha being the oldest at 25 years of age. And then you've got Stiller at 24. And then Lamine Camara, the youngest, at 22. So again, there's a lot of players that United are linked with, that are literally 25 or younger. So, it's definitely an area that United need to be improving on. And as I said, if we can get at least, two out of the six, I would say, I'd be happy because I think those six players there are the six players that we should be looking at as midfield targets. The preferred ones, as I've mentioned already, the Baleba, Wharton and Anderson. But if we can't get them, then how would you guys feel about going for the other three in Stiller? What's his name? Stiller, Camara, and Nmecha. I think if we're looking at Angelo Stiller, to be honest with you, Stiller for me is a higher priority in the sense of in what he can produce. He's left-footed, and I think Man United need to be getting in a left-footed central midfielder for me. I think it's a must, and this is why, you got Baleba, you got Wharton, and you got Stiller. They're three names that have been mainly linked with Manchester United, and we have to get at least one of them. You know, I think as it stands right now, the most likely one is going to be Carlos Baleba. You know, as I said, Premier League proven, left-footed, you know, offers the box-to-box that United would need. But he's also very good in possession. You know, passing-wise, there are players that are better passers than Baleba for me. But he's someone for me that definitely needs to, that definitely needs to be keeping an eye on, you know, because I think he's a must. Big up to Babs One Diva. Big up to United fan as well, 354. Big up. Yeah, I'm all good, man. Just looking forward to this game on the weekend. But I thought I'd just give you guys some quick content before I head out to the gym. You know, I want you guys to give me your opinion on the 3 players that's in the thumbnail. You know, as alternatives to the top targets, because I'm looking at Man United possibly, if we're being honest, getting at least one of them from Baleba, Wharton, and Anderson. And then if we go and get another midfielder, how do you guys feel about them other 3? You know, as I said, all 3 of them haven't played in the league before, but I look at Stiller's qualities, and Stiller, very good in possession, you know, isn't really that mobile, but again, he's someone that's very good in possession and can build attacks. And what I would say is, you know, there's been talk about Stiller more or less being a target for the likes of Real Madrid, you know, possibly a Bayern Munich as well. So he might be a deal that might be out of United's reach. But I think United have other priority targets that are left-footed that can play where Stiller plays anyway. And I think are Man United going to go for Premier League proven? You know, I think personally, in this sense, if you're going to get a left-footed player, there's Carlos Baleba there already. Obviously, you've got Wharton as well. And then, again, you've got, if you can't get an Elliot Anderson as a right-sided central midfielder, you know, obviously, let's not forget Kobbie's there as well. But I'm hoping Kobbie can play further forward, you know, in the number 10 position come next season. But I'm looking at Camara at 22 from Monaco, you know, had a decent season. I think he might be out injured at the moment. But from what I've seen of him, you know, was he part of Senegal's, or was he injured? He might have been injured, actually. I can't remember if he was part of Senegal's African Cup of Nations win. I can't remember if he played or not. I think he might have been injured. But he's someone that I've seen quite a bit of, you know, and he's probably, out of all the players, probably one of the most relatively unknown players. But he's got a lot of potential, Lamine Camara, and I like him. I think he's good. You know, I watched him play for Senegal against England, where Senegal beat England, and he looked very good, you know. And again, he's someone where you could probably get him out of Monaco for probably about 50 million, I would probably say, maybe a bit less, you know. And I think he's definitely got potential to grow. And again, he's got the camaraderie with the African players already in the sense of Mbuemo, Ahmad, Mazraoui, you know, so the camaraderie be there with him. And then you've got Nmecha, obviously the oldest out of all the 6 that I've mentioned. And, you know, obviously at Borussia Dortmund. I think with Nmecha, again, he's got the physicality, you know. He's like a box-to-box, you know, energetic midfielder as well. And it just depends to see what United are targeting. Because for me, I think for me, Man United need to be getting someone, you know, you either get a controller and a box-to-box. If you get 2 players, it has to be a controller and a box-to-box. And I'm looking at left-footed players. If you want a controller, you want Adam Wharton, you want an Angelo Stiller. And if you want a box-to-box, then you've got like a Nmecha. Anderson can do that as well. And I'm pretty sure Camara could as well. But if you want a box-to-box left-footed player, then the obvious one is Baleba. And again, Baleba for me is a bit of a hybrid where he can do the box-to-box and he's decent on the ball as well. I'm not saying he's Adam Wharton on the ball, but he has got those qualities and he is quite press resistant as well. So, yeah, I definitely do think, you know, you need to get a bit of a balance. Valverde, yeah, I've heard Valverde. The reason I've not mentioned Valverde because I don't think Valverde is a possibility. I know Valverde is not happy at Real Madrid from what I heard earlier. But if Valverde was to leave... oh, good play. Let me see this. if Valverde was to leave Real Madrid, I'm potentially looking at, if he was to come to the Premier League, you know, I'm looking at Liverpool. I think Liverpool would suit the way that Valverde plays. I'm looking at, I'm trying to think now. So Liverpool, maybe Man City. You know, maybe Man City. I'm not sure, but the Man United one, I'd love Valverde, of course, but I don't think that's a possibility, if I'm honest. You know, I don't think it's a possibility, but I do like Valverde. I do like him. Yuri Tillemans, again, I like, but I don't think we'll be able to get him out of Aston Villa. You know, and again, with Yuri Tillemans, do you play him as part of the two, or do you push him further forward? I think the fact that we've got Kobbie Mainoo, I think Yuri Tillemans isn't that much of a priority, in my opinion. I think we need a left-footed, box-to-box, you know, someone that's good on the ball, and which is why BALEBA fits the criteria for me. And then we need a controller. And again, if you're going to get a right-footed controller, as I said, then this is where the Elliot Anderson comes into it. But I don't think we're going to get Anderson. You know, Lamine Camara comes into it as well. So this is why I'm looking at alternatives, you know. He'd be sick at City. Who'd be sick at City? Valverde. Yeah, I agree. I think Valverde will give them the legs in central midfield that they've been lacking, because you can see what they're doing with Bernardo Silva. You know, Bernardo Silva is a naturally number 10 that's been played out wide. And because obviously Bernardo Silva hasn't got the legs anymore, you know, he's dropped back into central midfield. But you can see obviously Rodri's obviously been injured. Nico Gonzalez is injured at the moment. So Valverde, yeah, would be a definite good signing for Man City. But I've not heard any links to them with Valverde. But yeah, he's someone that definitely will be on the radar. But I don't think Valverde leaves Real Madrid anyway. You know, I think the fact that Xabi Alonso's gone now. Goal. Somerville, 1-0. West Ham. Yeah, the fact that what's his name? What's his name? The fact that Xabi Alonso's gone, you know, I think Valverde probably stays now, you know, because I think the big problem that Valverde was having, which, you know, it's not really a surprise, is that he's having to play right back because Carvajal's injured, Trent's injured, and because Valverde's so versatile, he's been taken out of the position to be playing right back, you know, and that's bound to take its toll on a player like him. So yeah, we'll have to wait and see, man. But yeah, he would be sick at City. I agree. I don't know why, but I can see Valverde in a Villa shirt. It's so random. You know what, United fan, big up yourself, man, because I was gonna mention Villa, yeah, but the reason I didn't mention Villa is purely because if you're getting a player like Valverde from Real Madrid, it's very rare that you're gonna see a Real Madrid player go into Aston Villa, you know, and that's nothing on Aston Villa, but those kind of moves don't really happen. You know, if you're gonna get a Real Madrid player, I know Asensio went there, but Asensio went there on loan. But if you're gonna get a Real Madrid player, you know, they're more or less gonna go to Man United, Man City, Chelsea, PSG, you would say, Bayern Munich, them kind of clubs, them kind of prestige clubs, because it's very rare that you get a player from Real Madrid and then they end up playing for, no disrespect, an Aston Villa, you know. But I was going to say Aston Villa, and it would be a very good move, but you don't leave Real Madrid as a Valverde, where he's good enough to be playing for Real Madrid, to go to an Aston Villa team where they're not guaranteed every season really to get in the Champions League. So, you know, but if he went to Real Madrid, I'd tell you now, what a signing that would be. And that's a signing there where you can actually say that, you know, Aston Villa would definitely need to be a team to be taken seriously, in my opinion. So, yeah, I could see Madrid swapping João Neves for Fede. I don't think so. I don't think PSG. I mean, I've not heard nothing about PSG getting rid of João Neves. And again, I look at their midfield, and the midfield of Vitinha, João Neves, and Fabian Ruiz works, because you've got You know, press resistant, very good on the ball in Vitinha. You know, João Neves is like their kind of bulldog in a sense, but has got quality. And then you got the physicality and the quality of what's his face? Of Fabian Ruiz. So yeah, I've not heard nothing about that, but you know what it is? That would be a good signing, man, if they swapped Valverde for João Neves. But yeah, I've not seen that, to be honest, man. But who knows, man? But guys, let me know, who would you prefer? Would you prefer Stiller, Lamine Camara, or Felix Nmecha? You know, as I said, all very similar ages, 25, 24, and 22. And all offer different kind of qualities as well. You know, you've got the left foot of Angelo Stiller, and then you've got the you know, two right-footed players in the Nmecha and Lamine Camara. But again, all offer different kind of profiles to the other three as well, in a sense. But they're good alternatives for me if we can't get, you know, our preferred targets. So let's put Xerxes in a swap deal. Just show them his best highlights. Nah, listen, man. I'm not with Xerxes going, man. You know, I back Xerxes. I think Xerxes is a very good player, man. And I think for me, you know, Xerxes is just a top manager in terms of, well, I say top manager. He's a coach away from all this nonsense being died down about Xerxes needs to be moved on. You know, he's just missing a coach that understands his game and you know, wants to use him, because there's no part of me that's gonna say that Xerxes is not a top footballer, you know. And the very fact that Amarim's gone now and we've got Carrick in, who's a possession-based manager, is good news for Xerxes. You know, I can understand Xerxes wanting to go on loan because he needs game time and it's World Cup year. But when he comes back, we just need to see what Carrick's intentions are with him. If Carrick says, if Carrick says to him he's going to get game time, then that might sway his decision. But I can understand Xerxes wanting to move on loan if it's a possibility, because the World Cup. If the World Cup wasn't on the horizon, then I think Xerxes would be quite content knowing that, you know, there's a potential new coach coming in that might favour him, or if Carrick stays, you know what I mean? So I think it's going to be down to Carrick's intentions. You know, we got one game and we have got a lot of attackers, so it's going to be difficult on that front. But let's wait and see. Big up to Glossy Pom Pom. Guys, make sure we're smashing the likes. Make sure we're subbing to the channel as well. Says, hi Gav, not a midfielder, but I see Mateta has asked for a move. I'd love to see us go out and get him, though not sure how he'd share game time with Sesko and Xerxes. I do rate Mateta highly though. Yeah, big up, man. We should have signed Mateta before going for Sesko. You know, in the summer I said it should have been Mateta, Ivan Toney, or Johan Visser. All three are Premier League proven. All three have shown that they can score goals in this league. So for me, they should have been the strikers that should have been spoken about, that United should have brought in. But obviously that didn't happen. I think, yeah, Mateta for me, he does want to leave. And there was talk about Juventus. You know, obviously Aston Villa had been linked to him, but I think Aston Villa are going for Tammy Abraham. You know, I think if Aston Villa said, look, we're going to go and get Abraham and Mateta, you know, that's a show of intent for me, because I know they play with one striker, but, you know, they are playing in Europe. And that will show to me that if they went and got both of them, they're looking to, you know, be serious about this title push. Because let's face it, I know people might think they're going to drop off, but they are on the same points as Man City, which is 7 points away from Arsenal. And for me, what I would say is, you know, that will show massive intent, because they brought back Leon Bailey from loan. Kamara's out for the season, so they've got to strengthen in midfield. I'm pretty sure there was someone else they've got as well. I can't remember. But Abraham's, yeah, having his medical this morning, or he's been confirmed. But yeah, there was links to Mateta. I mean, do I see Man United going for Mateta now? I don't. The only way that happens is if Xerxes was to go out on loan, or if it's one of them things where Carrick or the board desperately want him. But the fact that we've got one game a week now, I think the urge to go and get Mateta is not going to happen because there's other players that can play in the front line. So yeah, I don't really know where Mateta's going to go, if I'm honest. You know, I think if I'm looking at all the other teams, yeah, I think Aston Villa is the only real possibility. But as I said, they're going for Tammy Abraham. You know, I don't see Chelsea because they've put money together to go and get Delap and João Pedro. So you can rule out City, you can rule out Arsenal, you can rule out Liverpool. You know, you can rule out Chelsea. So yeah, I think Aston Villa, Tottenham maybe. You know, Tottenham could be a possibility. You know, they've got Richarlison who's out injured. Solanke's just returned. You know, you could see him at Tottenham, but I don't know if Tottenham are looking at him. So yeah, I'm not too sure. If he stays in this league, I'm looking at Villa and Tottenham really as the possibilities. Because I'm pretty sure that Mateta would want to go to a team that are either playing Champions League football or going for Champions League places. So it kind of narrows it down. But if he goes abroad, I'm not too sure, man. I'm not too sure. I love Josh. He's being pushed to the side a lot. Yeah, I agree. But again, I'm not really going to talk too much on Xerxes because you guys already know that my thoughts on Xerxes anyway. You know, Xerxes is a top player and he's criminally underrated in this country, criminally underused by the previous manager. But all we can hope for is Carrick has plans for him. If there is a next coach next season, has plans for him, and the board can kind of convince him to stay. But what I would say is that it's one of them things for me where, you know, I can understand if he does go on loan because it's World Cup year. So, yeah, we'll have to see what happens, you know. Big up to Exedra. Big up, my guy. Big up. Yeah, guys, come on, make sure we're smashing these likes. Make sure we're subbing and make sure we share the channel as well. I think we are 90 away from 2K subs. So again, if you haven't subbed to the channel when you're new in here, make sure you go ahead and do that. Just watching this West Ham Sunderland game. West Ham 1-0 up. Somerville. Do you know what? I like Somerville. Obviously, formerly of Leeds United, and he's a good player, man. Very good player, and he's Dutch as well. So you know he scored the goal. Maybe he's trying to stake a claim for the national team. So yeah, man, one of them things. But he's a good player, man. 2K already, killing it, Gav. Yeah, big up, man, big up. As I said, putting the work in, and as I said, yeah, it's one of them things where just gotta keep pushing, man. Keep putting the content out, and if you guys are enjoying the content, that's what matters, man. Like you guys are obviously your regulars. And you support the channel. So, yeah, big up to yourselves, you know. I got my game tomorrow, Gav. I'm starting finally. I told you, my guy, man. Just keep patient, man. Just keep patient. You know what I mean? And just take your chances, man. That's all you can do. You know, I know goalkeeper's difficult because it's one position. But, yeah, man, just keep faith and just keep positive. Just keep positive. Pakistan cricket team's back in the chat. Where you been hiding, man? I knew you'd come back anyway because United and Arsenal obviously coming up. And I'm sorry to say, man, but your team's going to get smoked tomorrow. And I can't wait. I cannot wait. Big up to Fitz. Big up, my guy. Big up. Guys, yeah, let me know in the chat. What do you think? I know, obviously, Exedra likes Angelo Stiller. But let me know what you think in terms of what player in the thumbnail will be good as alternatives for the three top targets in BALEBA, Wharton and Anderson. Because I'm looking at, for me, Stiller for me would be a good signing, but he would only be a good signing for me if we don't get, because I'm looking at him as the same profile as Adam Wharton. I think if you don't get Wharton, then maybe Stiller comes on the table because BALEBA for me has to be signed. He's a must signing for me for so many reasons, as I've mentioned previously. And then if you want to get, you know, because you're going to have two left-footed central midfielders that do come in. And I wouldn't be opposed to that because, as I said, we've got Cobby there anyway. And Cobby hopefully might play further forward. But if not, Cobby can play as one of the two. So for me, I would like BALEBA, which means if we get another left-footed, Oi, penalty. If we go and get another left-footed central midfielder, as I said, man, I would like Wharton. But if we don't get Wharton, then maybe Stiller comes into it. Or do you go and get a right-footed player in the likes of Elliot Anderson? You know, Felix Nmecha, you know, both players box to box. But obviously, you know, what's his name? Anderson obviously can play deeper as well and dictate. So, yeah, it's gonna be mad. Stiller would be a Wharton type. Yeah, 100%. It's either, for me, it's either Stiller or Wharton. But you know, if we don't get either, then this is where I think for me, but when you get BALEBA, you need to go and get an Anderson or a Camara, maybe a Nmecha, who knows, you know? Yeah, who knows, man? Who knows? Will you do a watch along for the game against us? Yeah, listen, watch along tomorrow. So we'll be live at 4 o'clock. Obviously got Fitz coming on, got Jonas, obviously Liverpool fan, coming on, and then got Owen from B2R Sports coming on as well. So yeah, listen, we're gonna have four of us on tomorrow. You know, if you're an Arsenal fan and you want to jump on the stream as well, then just let me know. But yeah, it's bound to be a good game, and you know, I'm keeping my excitement in check because when it comes to game time tomorrow, I'm gonna be fully up for this game, man, because this is a game that I believe we can win, and we have to win. We have to win, you know, or take points off Arsenal. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it, man. Look, I'm definitely looking forward to it. Oh, good penalty. 2-0 West Ham. Jared Bowen penalty. So yeah, 100% doing a watch along. So as I said, we'll be live at 4 o'clock tomorrow. So yeah, make sure you guys come through, support the channel, and as I said, yeah, keep your get your interactions coming through. BALEBA is probably cheaper than Anderson. That's crazy, you know, because who would have thought that? Because I think, you know, the money that was being touted for BALEBA, you know, but I think definitely he will be. But that's not saying that BALEBA, you know, isn't a better player than Anderson, you know. I think everyone's looking at Anderson as a better player because he's had a good season so far and BALEBA has dropped off. But I don't personally think that's a basis to say that all of a sudden Anderson's better than BALEBA, because BALEBA has dropped off, because BALEBA was good last season. So, and obviously I watched him in the AFCON against Ivory Coast, and he was arguably man of the match. So, yeah. As I said, BALEBA for me has always been my top target, you know, even from a couple of seasons ago. And I'm not going to change my mind. So he's definitely someone that we need to bring in. And hopefully that's with Wharton or with Anderson. But if that doesn't happen, then, yeah, obviously we need to see the alternatives that are going to be there. Gav, why don't we give Kobe and Kone a try? I think next season I would like to see Kone as part of the squad, but we can't be throwing in Kone. Kone is obviously a young player, and you can't have a midfield of Kobe and Kone. You know, I think Kone, for me, will need to be, you know, part of the squad, given some minutes and seeing how he does. You know, it should have happened this season for me, but having Kobe and Kone to start with in the midfield, you know, I as much as I want to see, you know, both players playing, I don't think we can throw that in straight away. You know, Kobe for me needs to be in this team. You know, he's a definite starter for me. But Kone needs to obviously get minutes before we can start saying he needs to be starting games. But it should have been done this season. So yeah, let's see what happens, you know, next season. I think Arsenal will drop points tomorrow. Big up to Gamer. Big up, man. Yeah, listen, I think we beat Arsenal tomorrow. You know, I think we beat them. You know, at worst, you know, we draw the game. But I can see us beating them tomorrow, man. I'm confident of it. I'm confident in us, especially if Gabby Jesus starts. You know what? If you guys see the watch along yesterday, you know, I said that Arteta might be missing a trick if he doesn't start Gabriel Jesus, because if he starts Gyökeres tomorrow, yeah, I can see Harry Maguire and even Lissandro trying to rough up Gyökeres and unsettle his game. Because again, Harry Maguire, you know, is dominant in the air. any ball that goes up to Gyökeres, you can be sure that Harry Maguire is going to apply pressure to Gyökeres. And I think Gabriel Jesus won't probably play up against Harry Maguire. You know, he'll be floating around. And I think it might give United a bit more of a problem. You know, so I'm hoping Gyökeres starts, because if you got Maguire getting physical with him, as we saw what the Lick done with him in the first game of the season, and then Lissandro will try and do his shithousery as well, you know, trust me, man, I'm all for that. I'm all for that, definitely. So yeah, I can see it happening. But let's see, man, tomorrow, because I can't wait till the team news comes in, because I got a feeling Carrick goes for the same team, but you never know. He could spring a surprise, and it will be a talking point for sure. Gav, you've offered Arsenal fans to jump on for like 3 weeks. They're all scared, bro. Yeah, listen, bro. I know that. I know that. You know that. But I'm always gonna put it out there, you know, because we know how these guys are. You know, they only want to jump on when things are good. You know, which means that they're either not real fans, or they're trolls. So again, the option's there. If they want to jump on for the stream and get involved, then it's there. But yeah, listen, they are running scared. But no doubt if Arsenal was to win the game, you're gonna see these guys pop up in the chat, because this is what they do, you know. F it, Gav. We want to be big club again. Go buy Pedri, bro. Pedri's one of my favorite players. Like he's my best central midfielder in world football. You know, he's the closest player to Iniesta for me. You know, and Iniesta's one of my favorite players as well. But we're never getting Pedri. and you know what? As much as I would like to get Pedri, I don't want Pedri to leave Barcelona. So yeah, that's never going to happen. Pedri's good where he is, man. He's going to be, for me, a future captain for Barcelona as well. And he's one of the best players in the world. And he's someone I genuinely would love to see win the Ballon d'Or, because he's that good. You know, he's someone that hasn't got mad GA, you know, but, you know, we don't talk about GA with a player like that, because anyone that knows their football can just see what a supreme talent Pedri is. You know, as much as I would love us to go and buy Pedri, never going to happen. You know, never going to happen. He's going to stay at Barca for the rest of his career. He's going to do a Messi, yeah, unless Barca need to sell him for financial reasons. So, yeah, it's just one of them ones where we can just enjoy watching Pedri play for Barcelona, but he's never leaving, man. Never leaving. Don't get me wrong, Anderson's good, but BALEBA is just as good, if not better. Big up Exedra. And you know what it is? You know what it is about BALEBA, yeah? What makes me laugh, yeah, is that there's players out there, yeah, that, you know, they don't have to do much for the criticism to change. You know, last season, or when United were linked to BALEBA in the summer, you know, fans were going mad about BALEBA, saying BALEBA's a top player, we need to go and sign him, all this kind of stuff, yeah? And it just shows you that we live in a flip-flop opinionated world, where a player can be good last season and all of a sudden things are not going too well, maybe for various reasons. All of a sudden this player's not good, you know, there's no clubs that want him, etc. All this other nonsense, yeah? And as I said, there's certain players that have to do a lot more to get half the respect, whereas some players can have a good 6 months, you know, and still get given leeway. This is the kind of world we live in now. And as I said, I'm not going to say BALEBA hasn't been great. He hasn't this season, you know, but there's no part of me that's gonna say we shouldn't be signing BALEBA. We should be signing BALEBA for many reasons, for what he's going to offer to this team. And again, if we go and get another midfielder alongside him to go with Kobe, obviously Casemiro's now leaving, so we've got to replace someone there, then I'm all for it, you know. But BALEBA for me, you know, do I think Elliot Anderson's better than BALEBA? You could say based off of this season, off of form, but how can we say that Anderson's better than BALEBA? Because Anderson, in theory, has been the level he's playing at now for just this season. You know what I mean? Last season he was decent, but this season, yeah, he's been very good. But for people to start saying that Anderson's better than BALEBA now, what, after what? After what, half a season? Like, I'm not with that. So yeah, I like both players, but BALEBA needs to be the main priority for me. And if we can't get Wharton and we get an Anderson, then listen, you're not going to have me complaining, put it that way. We talked about Anderson when BALEBA was good too, Gav. Elite scouting. Yeah, exactly. We spoke about this time ago, and it's not like a flash in the pan kind of thing. We spoke about BALEBA time ago, just like when you told me, Xedra, about Angelo Stiller. I wasn't really aware of Stiller, and you told me to watch Stiller. I watched him, and yeah, he's a top player. But what I would say about Stiller, as you said earlier, it's either going to be Stiller or Wharton, and I don't know if we get Wharton. And again, I would like Stiller, but it means getting 2 left-footed central midfielders. And if we got BALEBA and Stiller, I'd be happy with that. I would be. Stiller's the controller. BALEBA is a bit of a hybrid. But maybe people might want a left-footed and a right-footed player. Who knows? But we'll have to wait and see, man. I hope you win tomorrow, Gav. Listen, we are going to win. I can feel it, man. We are going to win. I've got no doubts that we're winning tomorrow, man. No doubts. Declan Rice says, I'd say 2-0 Arsenal. Why am I not surprised? I'm going 3-1 United. I'm going 3-1 United. Guys, let me know what you think. There's a player that plays for Sunderland, yeah, called Mayenda. Left-footed attacker, plays through the middle or can play out wide. Let me know what you think about him, because I've seen him a couple times. I think I watched him against Man City, I think it was, and he looked good. Let me know what you think of him if you've seen him. Gav, do you think they will keep Carrick on as a full-time manager? Big up to Babs One Diva. It's hard to say. I think Champions League football, if Man United get Champions League football, if Man United are playing good football, then why would you change him in a sense? So even though I'm leaning towards us going for De Zerbi and Enrique, a Xavi, I'm leaning more towards that. But it's all in Carrick's hands, because if Carrick plays good football, we get Champions League, realistically, why would you change that? Like that's what many people are going to be saying. So yeah, I'm not too sure. Do we keep Carrick? I would say no. But what I will say, if he does play good football to the end of the season and we get Champions League, you'll hear me say we have to keep him. Because all I want, and I've been saying this for a while, I just want to see the best players thriving in a system that gets the best out of them. The best players like Ahmad, hopefully Xerxes gets game time, Kobe, Cunha, players like that. I want to see these guys thriving and playing regularly. We're playing good football. We can strengthen, and and we get Champions League and we can go on. Why would you change it? That's the truth. So yeah, let's see what happens. But big up for the question. I'd love to see Sandro Tonali playing for United. Yeah, me too. But again, it's not going to happen. Tonali for me is one of the best midfielders in the league. I actually think he's Newcastle's best midfielder. I know a lot of people might point towards Bruno Guimaraes, but for me, Tonali's their best midfielder. But again, players like Tonali, we're not going to get, because if you're thinking that Newcastle got how much for Isak, yeah, what was it, 150 mil or something like that? They paid for him. I can't remember now. I think you're looking at about 120 probably for Tonali. So yeah, that's not going to happen. But I rate Tonali highly, man. He's a very good player. We were linked with Tonali before, when he was at Brescia, before he went to AC Milan. And again, we never took the punt and went and got him. So it's annoying. Big up Fitz says, if Arsenal beat us, Clockenders is the only person that can talk shit since he's going to be at the game. Everyone else ran scared, so not one of them can chat to me about it. Yeah, I hear it, bro. I hear it. But listen, there's no point even getting onto that, because they're not beating us. It's that simple. They're not going to beat us, man. I'm sure of it. You know, I've not seen really nothing of Arsenal to suggest that they can beat us. If it was Ruben Amorim, then I would say, yeah, listen, I'm not confident one bit. But just have a look at how Carrick set us up against Man City and why I'm so confident, you know. And if we set up in the same way, you know, we take our chances, we're clinical, you know, I see us winning. And that's why I'm going for 3-1. And I just can't wait for this game, man. Camavinga can be the guy Man United need. Only he is a good midfielder and he's versatile, but he's a really top dribbler too. Big up to Declan Rice, man. Listen, I know you're an Arsenal fan, yeah, but I have to say, yeah, a lot of Arsenal fans that come on there, you know, a lot of them are deluded. But I have to say, yeah, you're talking my language because Eduardo Camavinga is the one midfielder that I've wanted at Man United for years. You know, I wanted Camavinga when he was a 16-year-old playing for Rennes. You know, if anyone remembers Eduardo Camavinga with number 10 on his back at Rennes, you know, playing further forward as well as like a number 10 for Rennes. And this is when I thought to myself, this guy is, I said at the time, yeah, he'll end up at Barcelona or Real Madrid because he's playing in the French league at 16 years of age and he's running midfields, you know. And ever since I see him at Rennes, I said, Man United have to go and get him. And to think that Real Madrid got him for 30 million, a player of that level. And again, I know he's had injuries, you know, and hopefully he's over his injuries now. But he's the one midfielder that I said, you know, he's a 3-0. 3-0 to West Ham. Hey, Sunderland are getting battered 3-0 at London Stadium. Bloody hell. They're getting battered, Sunderland. Matthias Fernandes from Southampton, decent player, man. So yeah, what I would say, guys, yeah, is Camavinga's been my number one. And any of you guys that have watched the channel would know this anyway. But he's someone that I've had to just pass up on because I can't win. We've never really been in for him since he went to Real Madrid. You know, but I'd love to get Camavinga. If I could get Camavinga, he'll be the number one target over BALEBA for me. You know, but I don't think that's going to happen. But yeah, he's a top player, man. And as I said, when I talk about the best central midfielders in the world, Pedri, Vitinha, Camavinga's there for me. Moises Caicedo, Camavinga's there for me as well. So the only thing that's stopping Camavinga is injury, because he's a top player, man. But hopefully, you know, if there was links to him and we're seriously in for him, then I'll tell you now, man, you're not going to get a happier Man United fan than me. But yeah, I just don't think it's going to happen, man, unfortunately. But there's loads of midfielders, man. Manu Kone, nah, I don't want Manu Kone, man. I don't want Manu Kone. He's a decent player, man, but I don't want Manu Kone. Gav, why you want to see Carrick age 10 years in the season? Let Mikey go manage Palace when Glasner goes because he doesn't need the stress of the full-time position. Yeah, bro, I hear it, man. But I don't think we can overlook, yeah, if Carrick comes in and does a good job. Because if he gets Champions League football and we're playing good football and the best players are playing, the ones that we want to see play, then I'll be the first one to say, you know what? I would like a new manager, but I can't overlook Carrick, man, for what he's done. That's the only thing I'm going to say, you know. And again, unless we go and get a Luis Enrique, you know, which Enrique for me is going to Man City. I think it's nailed on. You know, I touched on this the other day. You know, if you look at him and Pep's career, you know, it's very similar. Both ex-Barcelona midfielders, you know, both managed Barcelona, both won Champions Leagues, both had dominant teams. You know, Pep went to Bayern Munich and obviously didn't win Champions League, but won Bundesligas. You know, obviously Enrique was at Roma. You know, didn't really do much there, I don't think. But then went to PSG, won Champions League titles. Pep's at City. So who better to go and take over from Pep at City when Pep goes? So I think he might be lined up for that. But if there's a chance that we can get Enrique, then to me it's a no-brainer. But you know, De Zerbi I like as well. Xavi, I think, is a good coach. Zidane's been a dream of mine, even though he's a pragmatic manager. But if we can't get one of them, and I'm not mentioning Ancelotti because I just don't think Ancelotti is a possibility for us to go and get. But if we can't get one of them, then, and Carrick's doing a good job, Yeah, listen, I ain't got a problem with it. 100% Camavinga's been a dream signing for me for like at least 5 years. Yeah, listen, without doubt, man, top player. You be calling for his sack when he loses a few on the bounce. No, I won't, man. I'm not one of them managers. As I said, one of them fans, should I say. Again, I don't follow the general consensus. You know, I have my own mind, unlike a lot of other people, yeah. But what I would say is, you know, I'll stick to my guns and say that if Carrick does play good football, and as I said, the best players are playing, and we get Champions League football, I mean, it'll be very hard to change him, you know. And I think if Enrique's available and wants to come, then it's a no-brainer. You know what I mean? That's all I would say. But as I said to you, the very fact that, you know, I was Amorim and Ten Hag out from the very start is because when they favour certain players that I don't rate, it tells me a lot of what kind of football we're going to see. And it tells me what direction that they want to go in on the pitch. So that's where I'm at with it. We have the better Kone in academy. Yeah, listen, I've seen Sekou Kone a couple of times. Yeah, and for me, like I'd like to see him get more game time. But I think is he on loan at the moment in Switzerland at Lausanne? I can't remember. But next season he needs to be part of the squad and just given some chances. I'm telling you, man, he needs to be. You know, and if he needs if he needs a loan, then fair enough. But at least give him a chance because I've seen him a couple of times in the academy, man, and he's definitely got something. You know, I like his composure on the ball. Not sure what the big fuss is about. You usually play well against the top 6 teams. It's the other 13 you should be worried about. Boy, I'm not sure who's making the big fuss, but I don't know where you're going with that, Sean Twed, man. But I don't think there's no big fuss, man. We do step up against the better teams because the better teams like to play an open, expansive game against us, and we've got threats on the counter. That's why. But what I would say about Arsenal is, if Arsenal go for the game against us, they're in trouble because we've got pace on the counter, you know. And against Man City, you could see how devastating he was. So, and if Arsenal sit in and we play the low block, Arsenal ain't gonna open us up. Their best threat is from set pieces. So this is why I'm confident. You know, whatever style Arsenal for me want to employ, I think we can nullify them. So that's why I'm confident, man. And yeah, that's what I got to say about that. Yeah, Eze's not starting. Eze's not going to start, bro. He's not going to start, man. We know what Arteta's going to do. He's going to play Trossard, Saka, and Gyökeres. I think Jesus probably should start for them, though. He's going to play Odegaard, Rice, and Marino, and Zubamendi. And then Hincapié, I think, is fit. So he'll play left back. Gabriel, Saliba, Timber, Raya in goal. That's how he's going to play. So I think Enrique's ideal for City, but I think Maresca actually ends up at City. Yeah, I was thinking that, you know. I was thinking that. But what I'm thinking, yeah, is if Luis Enrique is basically saying he's not going to sign a new contract at PSG, I'll be very surprised if City haven't identified him as the next manager. I'll be very surprised. I think it's between him and Maresca. Obviously, Maresca formerly at Man City anyway. But part of me thinks Maresca might go to Real Madrid. I can see him taking over at like a Real Madrid. And the thing is with Luis Enrique, there ain't any other club he can go to because he's not going to go to Real Madrid because, again, he's an ex-Barcelona player. Do I see him going to Bayern Munich? No, because the company signed a new contract. He's at PSG already anyway. And so the only other alternatives are in England. And then you're looking at United or City. You know, possibly Chelsea. Who knows? So I think that could be his next. I would say out of the next clubs he goes to, for me, it's either going to be City, United, or Chelsea he goes to. You know, that's what I believe. Big up to Mike. Big up. Guys, we're going to wrap up in a minute, in about 5 minutes. So I've got to shoot out. But as I said, we are going to be live tomorrow at 4 o'clock for the watch along. So yeah, make sure you guys come through. Make sure you got your popcorn. Make sure you got your super malts or your beers or whatever you guys drink. You know, because this stream, you know, is about to be a good one. Because I'll tell you now, when Arsenal get beat, we're gonna really see, man, what's really going on. Because the amount of chat that I've been hearing from a lot of these Arsenal fans, it is draining, man. It is draining. So we are definitely gonna be here, man. So yeah, make sure you guys come through. We need Arsenal tears tomorrow, bro. Listen, I'm confident that we are gonna get that. I'm confident. Got my stouts chilling. Got them special brownies cooked up. Boy, I'm bringing the popcorn tomorrow, man. I ain't gonna lie. The popcorn's coming out. The sweet and salted popcorn. You know, the sweet and salted popcorn. And I might even get a chai latte tomorrow, man. And just enjoy the day. Because it's going to be a good one. Big up to Mike, man. We will be there when Arsenal lose. Yeah. And guys, listen. If we was to get beat, you know, I'm still going to show up. It's going to be hard. I ain't going to lie. But I'm still going to show up, man. Because I'm not like these Arsenal fans that only show up when everything's going well. So, yeah, listen. But that's not going to happen. We're winning this game. I can feel it. I'm confident we don't lose, and prediction Declan gets at least 1 GA. Whoa, I mean, to be fair, I think I have to say at this moment in time, he's probably the best corner kick taker in world football right now. So I wouldn't really bet against that. But listen, he's got to worry about Kobe Mino and Casemiro tomorrow. That's what he's got to worry about, you know. It's just a rebuild. Don't worry, Gav. Yeah, listen, man. Arteta the fraud, man. Yeah, listen. As I said, man, I can't wait for this game tomorrow. You know, I just can't wait. I want to see the team news and then 4:30 kickoff, man. So, yeah, let's see what happens. But, guys, listen up. We're going to wrap it up anyway. Big up yourselves for coming on each and every time. Make sure you guys smash the like button. Make sure you sub to the channel. Make sure you share the channel as well. And check out all the other content on the channel, guys. Some good content on there. And as I said, let me know in the comments afterwards, after the stream's ended, you know, what midfielder that you would like between Stiller, Lamine Camara, and Felix Nmecha. If Man United don't get their top targets in midfield in BALEBA, Wharton and Anderson, let me know what one you prefer. And let me know if you think they're good alternatives or if there's any other players that you would like. I know a few of you mentioned Tillemans and Tonali in there as well. And I think there was someone else coming to name. But we're not getting them players, so it's not really realistic for me. But yeah, let me know what you guys think anyway. And guys, as I said, we're back tomorrow, 4 p.m. You know, got 4 of us on tomorrow. Including myself. So yeah, make sure you guys come back. Yeah, big up Fitz, man. I forgot to say. Yeah, guys, make sure you check out the Next Gen 50. Obviously, Next Gen 50 is the best 50 young players in world football. You know, they're obviously in a playlist that I done, you know, quite a while back. And yeah, let me know what you guys think of the Next Gen 50. It's just basically a talk on them players, you know, the potential of them, how good they can be. And obviously, I started off doing greats of the games. You know, I've got 4 players that I've done already in the real Ronaldo, R9, Ronaldinho, Zidane, and who's the other one? Zidane. Oh, and Francesco Totti. And now I've got another few to work through. So yeah, they'll be coming out later today. I've got 2 coming out today, and then I've got probably 1 or 2 coming out tomorrow. So yeah, let me know what you guys think. And so yeah, it's just basically players of the past. And I talk about the stats. I talk about, you know, how good they were when I was watching. So yeah, make sure you guys go and view that as well. What's your prediction for today, Gav? What games you talking about? Man City, I think, win the game. I think City win that at home. I'm gonna say 3-0 City. I think City win 3-0. Obviously, Mark Guehi making his debut as well. I think he'll shore up that defence. But I'm gonna say 3-0 City, and they'll put the pressure onto Wolves I mean, onto Arsenal. And Wolves have been good, but I think City win that comfortably. I think I'm gonna say 3-0. You know, 100% 3-0. Did you include Yan Diamande? I haven't. No. Again, Diamande was a player that when I done it, you know, he wasn't someone that was on my radar. I have to be honest. You know. But yeah, like if you go and check, man, there's quite a few players in there. I've gone through quite a few. And as I said, I'm on great to the games at the moment, and I've got a few to get through as well. So yeah, make sure you guys go and check that. Liverpool prediction before you go, Gav. Liverpool against, are they playing Bournemouth? Yeah. You know what they done against Marseille, you know, cannot be underestimated, because going away to Marseille is a tough ground to go away to. I've actually played at Marseille's ground, funny enough. It's the Stade Velodrome when I was younger. So and again, man, it's a massive pitch, and it's a good atmosphere there as well. So but what Liverpool done to them at the Stade Velodrome, you know, has to be respected, and I think they'll carry that on against Bournemouth. You know, and Bournemouth haven't been great. They've lost, obviously, arguably their best attacker in Semenyo. You know, they've got a top coach in Iraola that might want to move on. So I think Liverpool go there and win the game, man. So I think it won't be easy, but I'm gonna say 2-1 Liverpool. I think they win the game. You know, it wouldn't surprise me if they go there and win 2-0 either. But I think they win the game. Alex Scott, yeah, he's someone for me that, you know, I think he's going to be in contention with the for the England squad for the World Cup. You know, as I said yesterday, I think you got Declan Rice, Elliot Anderson are shoo-ins, and then it's going to be between Adam Wharton. I think he might be the third one, and then the fourth one is going to be between Cobby, Alex Scott. I mean, maybe Conor Gallagher. Who knows? So, yeah, man, it's one of them ones. Sick, Gav. You've had some mad experiences in football, you know. Yeah, bro. Listen, I've played at many grounds, man. As I said, Stamford Bridge, about 12 or 13 times. I've played at Upton Park, White Hart Lane, Stade Velodrome, Amsterdam Arena, Parc des Princes, which is PSG's ground, Charlton's ground, the Valley, Watford's ground, Vicarage Road, Carrow Road, Norwich, Portman Road, Ipswich. Where else? The Old Highbury, Wimbledon's ground. I played at Molineux, Wolves' ground. Yeah, listen, I played at so many grounds. There's a few more abroad as well. Anderlecht's ground as well. A few Belgium teams, say Excelsior, Mouscron as well. Yeah, man, I've had mad experiences, man. Mad experiences. So, as I said, man, that's the background, innit? So when I talk on football, man, I'm not a bot, man. I'm not just talking for the sake of it, man. I'm talking on experiences that I've been a part of and just what my background is. So, yeah, man. And there's not many people, I think, in this space that I've had the kind of experiences that I've had from playing and watching football. You know, that's the honest truth, man. So, yeah, it is what it is. What do you think about James Garner? I like James Garner. I think he's a good player, but he's signed a new contract now at Everton anyway. And what I would say is, should we have let him go? I mean, he wasn't the player that he is now. And again, people will say it's for money, etc. But I actually do think he's a good player. And I think him playing for Everton is good for his career, because he's another one that could be in contention for the England squad as well. Another guy that I forgot to mention. But yeah, I think he's a good player, but he's not a player that, you know, I'll look to bring back. You know, if he was like, if we had 3 top midfielders and he was a 4th choice, I wouldn't be that fussed. But as I said, man, yeah, I think him at Everton is good for his career, man. I don't think Garner's going to be good enough for United. No, he's signed a new contract, so he's not coming back anywhere anyway. So he signed a new contract the other day at Everton. So he's staying there, man. He's staying there for the foreseeable, and it's good for his career. Bag of iconic grounds there. You know, you definitely need a stream on this stuff. I know Bear of us would be interested to hear more about those games and the background from them. Yeah, bro, listen, man. If anyone wants to, yeah, if anyone's interested in hearing my background from what I've done, then yeah, man, that's something that we can hook up, man. What we'll do, man, let us get past this Arsenal game first. Let's beat them, because once we beat them, you know, I'll be even more enthusiastic to tell you guys the background. And yeah, listen, let's just get past them first. But yeah, no, that's something that I'll look to do, man. If you guys want to hear the background that I've had, you know, as I said, I think from what I know in terms of in this football space, I think the only similar person that's had a very similar football career to myself, I'm not sure if you guys have heard of him, Ransom Bance. You know, Ransom Bance is someone that's had a very similar football career to myself. So, and he's someone that, you know, I've watched from day dot in terms of his chat on football, because me and him have very similar outlooks on football. And again, I think a lot of that comes from my background and his background in playing. So, yeah, he's someone that I think from the content creators that I've seen on here, I think he's probably one of the very few that's had a very similar football experience to myself. You know, there might be more, but he's one of the only ones that I kind of know in it. So, but yeah, as I said, man, I'll definitely hook that up next time if you guys want to hear that. But let's get through this Arsenal game. So yeah, guys, make sure you come through tomorrow 4 p.m. live watch along. As I said, I got a few of the boys coming on as well, so we'll be here for it. And Man United, Michael Carrick, don't let us down, man. We're praying for this win, because there's bound to be tears for this Arsenal team, and it needs to start tomorrow at 4:30. So yeah, let's hope, man. I'm going 3-1 United. I'm not changing my mind. I'm saying 3-1. So let's hope. But guys, big up yourselves each and every time. Smash the likes, sub to the channel, share the channel, and again, check out all the other content. And yeah, I'll catch you guys back tomorrow. Take it easy.